Okay, viewers, this is Dr. James VONDUTCH speaking, and it's Thursday, 30th of April 2026. I just made a video. In my last video, I was at the Coventry train station. I'm just making my way out of that and approaching the Central 6 shopping park, which is just across the road, literally, from the Coventry train station. And you listen to Dr. James VONDUTCH, and I'm a 56-year-old single heterosexual man and a social media content creator for over 5 years now on multiple platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And what else do I need to mention? I need to mention that I am a Coventry civilian resident who is actually from Coventry, England, UK, born 1969 in December. But that's when I was a baby, obviously. But adult history, obviously, I'm VONDUTCH. Sometimes they call me One Amsterdam. Since at least 1998, I'd say September, August 1998 onwards, I'm probably VONDUTCH at least, but not officially then, obviously. Officially more recently, since the 2020s onwards, 2019 onwards, I'd say. But unofficially, I was from 1998 onwards, at least August, September onwards, a VONDUTCH then as well. But like I said, originally from Coventry as a baby, of course, but adult history, I'd say from 1998 onwards, from VONDUTCH or One Amsterdam, hence the name. So if I'm not Dr. James, obviously, I might be known as a full name, Dr. James VONDUTCH. Okay, I'm heading now towards the Central 6 shopping park, and there's a TUI shop there. You might be able to see it there, the TUI, and also the Salvation Army donation centre, and you can buy things there that have been donated. So I'm heading towards the shops I visited yesterday on my videos. Obviously, I'm walking it to the Central 6 shopping park on foot, as in the old days, obviously, when I had my car, I used to just drive here as a driver. And obviously, I've made my viewers aware I don't own a car anymore, and I don't go to the continent either. Cost of living, rising cost of living. And in fact, I noticed a lot of homeless people, even in London, sleeping rough on the streets in cardboard boxes, sleeping bags, you name it. Very high visibility. Some of them just asking for money with cardboard boxes and lettering on them. So they're obviously appealing to the public, walkers by, who might just walk past them for any money, any donations. That's in London. So London and West Midlands, in fact, have come up on the Joseph Rowntree Foundation report as being the most affected by poverty, the rising cost of living in particular. And you might see a lot of rough sleepers in cities like obviously London and even Coventry to some extent. Might be just a common sight, and then people might be just disregarding and walking past them. But I would have been rendered like that as well if I didn't have a car when I was rendered homeless. Unfortunately, I was able to sleep in that for plus 13 months before I was eventually discovered and offered supported housing for the homeless, supported housing, and that's where I've been ever since. So that guy there, maybe you might see him. Okay, we're at the Aldi now. Let me just get the Aldi logo. So that's the Aldi. I'll show you the opening hours for Aldi. I think on the continent they've got two versions of Aldi. Aldi South and Aldi North, I think. North and South. Different Aldis on the continent. Sud for South. Okay, we're inside now. There's quite a lot of good items here for sale, not just food items, but other accessories as well. Quite handy for the home, maybe, or even the car if you've got a car or a vehicle or whatever. Okay, I think I'm going to end this video now. Just word of advice from my experience: don't go for partners who evict you through family courts, country courts, whatever courts, relentlessly and again and again. Don't go in for any dangerous partners like that. Avoid partners like that in particular. And partners who like to bully in particular like that. Threaten and bully in any relationship. Avoid those sort of partners. Leave them at once. That's what I'm saying. That's from my experience. If you're under that sort of pressure at home and they're threatening you, your partner, whether you're male or female, it can happen both ways. Domestic violence, and it doesn't just affect women, it affects men as well. In my case, obviously I'm a man, so it affected me, and it was a woman that was evicting me out of the house. It could be the other way around, so it could be women who are also being evicted or threatened in the house. I've obviously done domestic violence course, got my certificate as well. And what do I say? Don't go for those sort of partners. Avoid them if you can. Chastising bullies like that, and don't form relationships like that if you can. Avoid them. Do avoid them. You don't really need to be there. Dangerous partners like that, and nasty partners are very nasty in particular. You know, who are always constantly threatening and bullying you, and in some cases extortionate behaviour. Blackmailing or extortionate kind of behaviour going on. And you know what to do. Leave that place. Leave those women. If there's a woman involved. I mean, I've had my house taken over. That was a council house, council family home. That's a different matter as well. So I'm a vulnerable adult. Obviously, I've been moved from my council family home, as well as my kids as well. That was a different, obviously, different case. But both of them have involved bullying. Last case was obviously removal from the council family home. That's my mother, the late mother's house that I used to reside at, and where actually was told I could live. and where I actually got my probation done as well. So I was actually told to be there. Actually, it was my reported official address when she lived there anyway. And then until they removed her from the house, but I had obviously become a free man then. But after COVID, that's when they removed my late mother, put her in care homes, and which jeopardised my stay there in that house. And I tried frantically to get myself on a tenancy agreement so that I could pay the rent in my own name. But they never did that, unfortunately, and that's how I ended up homeless. They served me notice to quit as well, and as you're aware, I was told to leave the house on the 26th of April 2023, and ever since, obviously, I've been homeless. And for 13 months after that eviction, I was actually sleeping with in my car, which I managed to get in the nick of time. And it wasn't as bad as sleeping in sleeping bags, but it could have been very bad. I mean, I don't know if I would have fully survived like that, rough sleepers in front of the shop windows, in sleeping bags, etc. So that's what I say anyway. So avoid those sort of partners, dangerous partners, extortionate partners, especially partners with exclusive ambitions, control freaks, in other words, those ones. And there's no mutual, TLC, tender loving care, because that's very, very important, if they're not bothered about you like that. And partners who abandon people as well. There's partners like that. Like my brother, obviously, he's been abandoned. But he's been married twice anyway. And I think it's happened to him again. He's in a supported housing care home. And he's obviously a lot different character than me, a lot different. People like that don't really like surviving. They're more kind of like quitters, Me, on the other hand, I've obviously survived the ordeal to tell my viewers. But it does start from nasty partners, obviously. And also removal of people who did look after you, or who are good to you, like my mother, for instance, my late mother. She was good to me. She used to help me out there, and obviously the financial side of things. And I was just living there as part of the family home. It was a 3-bedroom house, and I had a room to myself there. Until they moved her out of the house, out of her own. She had a room to herself, and I had a room to myself. And there's one vacant room for visitors or wherever, and where we could put extra things. So that's what happened anyway. So I've got to mention that. Do avoid those dangerous partners if you can, early signs maybe. You don't need to be in relationships where they're extortionate and blackmailing or intimidating in any way. You shouldn't put up with that. And if you can leave early, the better, obviously. It can get complicated. Obviously, if you've got ties, if you've got kids and children there, you can't just abandon children. And I was overstaying possibly because of the children there. And that's probably the only reason I was there. But you can't just be there because of the kids. If that's happening, somebody with exclusive ambitions, one-way control, diktat behaviour. So obviously the authorities are just as bad. So they punished me, obviously. Someone who wasn't sexing me, wasn't a sexing partner, and the worst thing to happen was they put me in prison with, for going back to see my kids and her, kept my things in the house. That's the last place I should have been. She's punished me enough anyway. So on top of that, the system, them, in Coventry, the courts here, the jailers here, they decided to punish me even further, locking me up with the prisoners, dangerous criminals, and I'm not a queer faggot. If they needed to lock me up, they needed to lock me up with some sexy, horny women out there, and at least that time would have been more productive. It was bad enough my woman wasn't sexing me, And then on top of that, they made things worse. And afterwards, when they had COVID, you know, they had people restricted in their movements. They could have done that to me rather than send me to prison. And an entire public had to suffer as well because of COVID. Remember? When the movements were restricted, almost imprisoned in the houses. Well, that's what happened there. They could have done that as well. And I wouldn't need to have, you know, shared rooms with dangerous criminals in prisons. Disgusting, horrendous prisons. Menacing prisons and horrendous sentences like that. Okay, I'll end this video now. Dr. James at the Aldi or the Aldi Superstore in the Central 6 Shopping Park in Coventry on Thursday, 30th of April, 2026.